Working, we got about 15 minutes before the official meeting starts. Just network. The agenda is roll call.
Justice Arnold? Here. Justice Brown? Here. Justice Edwards? Here. Justice Harlow?
Here.
Justice Hines? Here. Justice Lilly?
Here.
Justice Pickett?
Here.
Justice Russell?
Here.
Justice Trudeau?
Present.
Justice Vaughn?
Here.
And Justice West?
Here.
Item number 2 on the invocation. Item number 2 is the invocation. Justice Russell, would you give us the invocation, and don't forget the meal that we have.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Lord Jesus, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for all the many wonderful blessings you've given us. Thank you for the little cooler temperature. Thank you for this privilege to meet here, to conduct the county's business. And we pray your leadership by Holy Spirit, that you guide us and direct us as we make these decisions. Thank you for our extension service that provided our meal. Thank you for the food. Trust your blessing and nourish our bodies. Continue to bless us in our meeting. Lead, guide, and direct us. In Jesus' precious and holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Justice West, would you lead us in the pledge, please, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I move the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Second.
Been moved by Justice Russell, seconded by Justice Trudeau. We approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Item number 5 on the agenda. Approval of the treasurer's report.
I move the approval of the treasurer's report as presented. Second.
Been moved by Justice Russell and seconded by Justice Lilly that the treasurer's report be approved as presented. Is there any discussion? Missy, is there anything blaring on there that you need to discuss?
I think so.
Okay. Any questions Quorum Court have?
Just a little brief thing. What can be done with the timber tax?
The timber tax goes into the general fund and then is dispersed out from there. No? Okay.
It just comes through us. It's on the distributions from the collector's office. And once a quarter, I mail them a check. So
The collector's office, you mail them the check?
Now, the collector's office turns it over to me on distributions.
Okay.
And then when we collect like 3 months, then I send the check to the state. So it just comes through us and on to the state.
Thank you, Missy. Any other items? Okay, there's no other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. The treasurer's report is approved. Item number 6 on the agenda is audience participation.
Do I need to step up?
Yes, sir, please.
I'm not taking any more than an hour. I
It
just
won't
want
take that long.
Pardon me?
It won't take that long.
No, I won't take, I'll keep it less than 90 minutes.
Yeah.
There's three events occurring this month that mean a lot to me. And I just want to, hopefully people are aware of this. The first of them occurs this Saturday, the 9/11 First Responders Parade. I was asked by Missy Chambers early last month to help organize it, and as a New Yorker who lived only 33 miles from the World Trade Center on that terrible day, this parade means something a lot to me. So I'm just, please reach out to your residents. It's downtown Canton. come on out and let's recognize our first responders. We have police officers in it, the sheriff hopefully is gonna be in it. We have the fire department, we have our Ouachita County medical people who are gonna be in the parade. And Judge McAdoo will be there, your wife will be in it, Judge Mayor Young will be in it. Just come out and let's recognize our first responders. The second one occurs from Thursday, September 12th, and it's Feed Veterans. How many veterans do we have in this room? Raise your hand. Oh, I know, you didn't have to raise your hand, sir, I know you're a veteran. But at First Cullendale Baptist Church, we are serving veterans. And Lockheed actually serves the food. Now, I may be retired from Lockheed, but they have called me every year to see if I would still do this, and I'm honored to serve our veterans. I have a deep respect for the men and women who served our country. So if you don't know about it, please come down and let us serve you, and we can reach out to your residents. The last event occurs on September 28th, and I've done this now for 3 years, I believe. I've organized a Clean Up Camden event. It's going to take place at Thrive Church, which is right next to Jim Golden Ford. It's going to start at 9 o'clock. We'll have trash bags, safety gloves, safety vests. We'll have bottled water. Please, I'm asking you to reach out to your residents. I want to clean up not only Camden, but out into the county. I'm really hoping that at some point we can make this a Ouachita County cleanup, but I've got to start small and build into that. So I'm just asking the justices to please reach out to your communities, okay? And that's it. I'll relinquish my next 2 hours. God bless you all.
Mr. Winter, did you have a date?
Excuse me.
Ed,
Yes, sir.
the time, he didn't speak of the time.
Time
It's
for
this Saturday.
This Saturday?
This Saturday, the parade will begin at 10 o'clock. It'll start on Pope Street, go up to Jackson, make a right on Jackson, go up to Harrison, make a left on Harrison to Van Buren, where it'll make a right, go past the fire department, go up to Adams, where it'll make another right, and then go up to Jefferson and then end at the courthouse. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Anybody else with audience participation?
Good evening. How y'all doing? Jim Bob Davis. Got a couple of questions. I know this third reading of the change in the hospital police, I believe.
Modification.
What?
Yeah, it's the modification.
Okay. There was some confusion, I guess, on my part. This lease is in effect until May 15, 2028. Is that right?
No, it's further than that.
It was for 25 years, and the notice of extension was given on 15 May 2003.
No, 2014 is when
No.
it was extended 25 years.
Well, there's not one in here. This one in 2003 extended it for 25 years.
No, there's documentation in the county clerk's office.
I had it last week.
2014.
Well, then how is this one the 15th of May 2003? Why was it renewed again in 2014?
It renewed early.
It was 25 years it wasn't in effect, but 11 years.
It renewed early in 2014.
That will tag on to the first 25 years, and it was done, tied to a bond issue, if I remember correctly.
I think part of it, ladies and gentlemen, I served on school for 14 years. We're elected by the people, and we're elected to serve the people. And I was taught at an early age, we don't do enough teaching of government civics. But it comes down to, we need elected officials that when there's a problem, we'll get out and try to find out from the taxpayers. No, I don't think anyone realized that in this lease that we have, it says that we're not supposed to pay for the upkeep of those buildings. In section 5 of the lease, the leasee, which is Ouachita County Medical Center, agrees to maintain the leased premises, including grounds, furnishing, equipment, the whole 9 yards. And I'm assuming that's because $25 a year lease, that's why it was given. Because nobody's going to lease a building for $25 a year to maintain it. I believe the lease was broke by that statement alone, by that paragraph, by not taking care of the building. But the main thing is, I don't think the taxpayers were aware of any of that when the question was brought to them. There needs to be more openness. We don't need special elections on something like that. It needs to be in a general election where everybody votes. School boards did that so they could get what they wanted passed. That is what, to the public, it appears was done in this.
Our legal counsel on the tax initiative has sent that modification that's up for the third reading. And the reason for it is because the original lease said that the hospital was responsible for the buildings. The last time we had a tax, we had to put the modification ordinance in place, and the legal counsel told us to put the modification in place again. Now, I'm in agreement that, taxes, they need to be open, they need to be published, they need to be, let everybody be aware of them. But once the people vote on it, and then go back and continually question it,
An informed voter.
what was illegal?
I didn't say it was illegal, I said it's wrong.
Well, that's
Because
fine.
the voter was not informed of everything, just like this. I haven't seen an updated lease. This one was released.
It's on file in the county
This one was
clerk's office.
released in July.
What?
Yes. This was in the packet I got back here in July.
That was just a copy, it wasn't really, July, I think that was when we.
It was released to the public as far as the public knew right then.
It was released to the public back in 2014.
But we voted on an initiative in 2024. And I don't think the public was fully aware of everything they needed to know when they voted on this.
I'm going to agree with you on that. That maybe everybody in the public did not know, but it was published, Jim Bob, so I don't know how.
The lease wasn't published good. It was published that there was going to be an election and what it was for.
That's right.
But nobody knew, it was not told that originally the hospital people, at least the hospital, was supposed to keep the building up. If it weren't for taxpayer money, it's not my business or anybody's business the way the hospital runs.
I agree. I
But
agree.
it boils down to,
It's
we keep
taxpayer
doing
money.
the same thing in this county and this town. It's not just here. We keep doing the same things over and over and nothing ever changes.
But here's what I'm going to say. After that tax was passed, there was scuttlebutt that you were going to go, somebody was going to go back and put it back on the ballot again. That didn't happen.
No. But
Why?
there was talk. I saw the
Why?
thing. You're asking the wrong person.
Well, I understand that.
You're asking the wrong person.
I understand that. But that was what was talked in this community.
Yeah.
And no one ever stepped up
Well,
to come to this group of elected officials and ask them to consider it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's where the public's wrong. They don't get involved and come to the things they should, just like they don't come to school board meetings with their
I
fun.
agree.
They don't come to these kind of meetings.
I agree
But
with you.
irregardless of that, we are elected to represent the people. Now, you can't always do that. You're not going to make everybody happy. But when somebody comes to you, or one of the board members, or anybody else, with a concern over the years that something's not right, it doesn't need to be sloughed off. It needs to be investigated. Yeah, there's people going to be mad at me, and I'm sure there's people every day say something about the job I do. They come to me, I'll do my best to straighten it out. Listen to the people. There's too much. Our county's dying. People brag about industry across the river, and that's fantastic. That's great. Because if we didn't have a bill shut, that's not in county. That's not in Ouachita County. That tax money's going to Calhoun County.
I agree.
When I have to go to a doctor out of town because we don't have 6 or 7 doctors left in this town, there's got to be a reason why. Why do people live? Why?
What's the solution?
I don't know. But the start is to, let's open up our eyes and start talking and find out. Ask Dr. McFarland why he quit practicing in Camden and just went to Magnolia Soul. It might not have anything to do with here. Isn't McFarland the eye doctor? Who is the eye doctor? Huh? Hester, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Hester. Why did he leave?
He left Magnolia too, and now he's in Little Rock. So he didn't stay
Did
there
he?
either. No, he's in Little Rock.
Well, I know that is he still doing surgeries in Magnolia?
No, unless he just do them altogether.
Retired?
He.
But I mean, there's really, at least find out why are doctors leaving.
I'm in agreement with that. We do have to answer the question why.
You know, it's like the school district. Why is everybody leaving the school over there? Why are people pulling their kids out there? We've got to start asking, finding out what the cause of our problems are, and trying to solve them. If we don't, it's never going to get better. We all grew up in a time where everybody was coming to campus. I remember Dr. R.B. Robbins had a clinic that people come from all over the South to come to. What happened to those days? Why did we all of a sudden end up at the bottom of the trough? But
I'm like you. I don't have the answer, but at the same time, I'm like you. I would like to know why a lot of things have happened.
oh, I would too. But I would also, and I'm not casting stones. I appreciate everybody the time they take because people don't realize what position the elected officials get into. But at the same time, we took these jobs, just like when I was on the school board, to try and make it better, to try to find out what the problems are and what we can do to solve them. And just doing the same things over and over and over is not getting it done. It's just not. Now,
Agreed.
you may disagree with me, but we're going to keep getting it to the point where none of our kids ever come back here to live.
Agreed.
And we're going to be just like the local churches. We're going to start dying because you don't have youth. And you don't have people. But all I would like for you to do is just like this. I'm going around here thinking lease is going to expire in 2028. I've had excellent service at the hospital, but something's wrong. And if you've got money to buy clinics and other properties, why don't you have money to take care of the building? And just, I ask that y'all think about what's going on. And if part of the problem's there with the board, the administration, if part of it's there, try to find a solution to solve it. All the people on the outside get is bits and pieces. They're not aware of what you're aware of. And the only way they're going to find out is if you lecture people in the district level.
Mr. Davis, I generally don't speak when during audience participation because I'll have my time later on. But you said to get involved with our people. You know, when this first come up, I asked probably 10 or 12 people in my district, what do you think about this? What direction do you think we're headed? I got one answer.
Yeah.
That's the same percentage that voted in this election.
Yeah.
So you asked me maybe what a problem is, I'm only gonna give you an opinion here.
Yeah.
I don't care. Maybe that's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because you can go anywhere out in my area that I cover and they'll tell you, if you discuss this with somebody, yes, I do. And I got one answer. Somebody took time to answer me when I asked them that question.
Yeah.
Same percentage of people that voted in this election.
Well, and I agree with you. I run the same problem on the school board. But a lot of times, I'll give you an example of school board because I was there 14 years. The school board, as far as I'm concerned, didn't serve the public. They served the superintendent. And what the superintendent wanted when he come before, that's 99% of the board's going to approve. Maybe 90% they should have. But then you need to question, when this lady comes to me, and there's a problem with her daughter in the school district, and I go to a superintendent, oh, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. You know, who told you that? It's always thrown back on the parent or who told you. They want to know. Sure they want to know so they can take it out on you. That's the perception in the public. Part of the problem with voting, and I'm probably wrong on that, it is inconvenient for somebody that lives out past 57 to drive all the way to Camden to vote. It made it easier, it should have made it easier to count the votes, but you start losing participation when you cut the polling places down. Then they're sure not going to come out for a special election. Why should I drive 15 miles to vote in a special election? That's why we have special elections. Because usually you get things passed, just like the school district. But I don't want to waste any more of y'all's time. All I ask you to do is take it serious when this thing comes up or whatever. Maybe locked in it 10 years. I don't know if those people would get it back on the ballot somewhere and try to remove it. But you don't need that either. There doesn't need to be that kind of confrontation. Just bring everything up to people ahead of time so they'll be informed.
So
They don't even know where to start digging it out.
So, Jim Bob, as you know, I've always been pretty open-minded. You and I have had a number of discussions, and I do take a little bit of offense when you say get involved, because I know several of the court members, and I know how many people that they reach out and testify to. I know that I did when this last election, but just like you, when you was on the school board, everything that you reached out and talked to and got information, you couldn't run out in public and go, here's what I know. I know last time there was comment, not last month, but the month before last, there were comments made that you made that I know, after my research, factually it was not true, but it's perceived. So everybody has an opinion on it, and fortunately or unfortunately, this one has been done. I believe that everybody in the county knew that there was going to be an election. Everybody in the county knew what it was for, and that's where we are today.
Well, it goes right back to if they were informed and knew up front that the hospital was supposed, people running the hospital were supposed to maintain the building, it might have been a different term.
It was the same situation in the first tax that passed that had a sunset clause. Nothing changed from that tax to this tax.
You know how many people back then are still even living in the county now? Does it mean you still can't inform? Or is that just the excuse that, we did something 20 years ago and people ought to remember? I'm not anti-hospital.
What I said is there wasn't any difference in the structure of this tax than there was when we did the improvements before. That was the same premises of what that tax dollars was utilized for.
I know, but before they weren't informed of that, Did you know that the hospital, the people that run it are supposed to pay the maintenance on the building?
That was in the original lease.
But I mean, who knew? Now, today.
Back in 1974 when that lease was
Well,
signed.
why do we ever pass a tax to start with then? I'm not gonna beat a dead horse to death. It's done. I'll talk to you afterwards, because the only thing I can think I told you that you disagree with, I can prove you wrong on. But I would like y'all just, I mean,
It's
that's
3
all.
minutes. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Any other audience participation? Yes, ma'am.
Judge McAdoo. I'm not ill tonight. I'm having some dental work done, so the mask. I wanted to just present some statistical and information as I did at last month's meeting, and to remind you that we don't completely, our month-end data isn't completed until around the 10th of the month, so our accountant is still working on that for the month of August, so we'll always be a month behind. So this is for July. We had 74 admissions in July, and I wanted to give you comparative data that compared to June. It's down from the 109 that was reported to you last month, and I want to share with you probably the impact. And that impact would have been created by Dr. Dan Martin's retirement most heavily, because he had a very busy practice and he tremendously supported the hospital. He had a population that many of them often required hospitalization, so we think that's the major impact to the decline in admissions. Our emergency room visits are staying roughly where they have, 1,010 for the month of July. Last month was 1,051. We have a monthly range of 1,000 to 1,100 emergency room visits each month. Our outpatient visits are also down from the prior month. We had 1,270 outpatient visits in the month of July. That was down from 1,395 last month. And again, outpatient visits are everything from lab to radiology studies, and probably a lot of that again is the impact of Dr. Martin's business. And most of you probably know that Dr. Dan Martin developed a very serious health issue and he retired. We had 320 ambulance runs compared to last month, 323, and we average around 300 to 330 ambulance runs each month, so we're running on average. Newborn deliveries, we had 12 in the month of July, and in the month of June there were 22. And that's just going to vary, and none of us have any control over that. That's just based on the number of pregnancies that you have due that particular month. Cardiac procedures, in the month of July we did 20, and last month we did 23. Surgeries, inpatient, were 5, and if you'll recall, last month the judge asked if we had 0 surgeries. Were there, not that he was given the number 0, it was just omitted from the report that had been given to him earlier. So in the month of June we had 14 inpatient surgeries. In the month of July we had 64 outpatient surgeries, and in the month of June we had 68. For this particular month of July, we now have experienced a loss of around $500,000, $596 actually. And I noted last month that for last month and the prior 2 months, we had profited from $148,000 to $220,000 a month. This is really in line with the performance of other hospitals throughout the state and actually throughout the nation. Most are operating at a deficit year to date, as I reported to you last month. And again, it's a reimbursement issue. It's a reimbursement problem. And in just a minute, Joe Michael's going to share some brief information on that. I do want to answer Mr. Davis's question about Dr. Hester. This was not my story to tell, it's his story to tell. He has a health issue. And he closed his practice in Camden because he could not afford the upkeep of 2 clinics with the limited number of surgeries that he was doing in Magnolia. He had not done any surgeries since December of last year, and the reimbursements are down for physicians, just like they are for hospitals. And the overhead of maintaining office staff in Camden and not being able to come and do surgeries was more than they could shoulder. He actually was only doing part-time service in Magnolia during all of those months. And he has a health issue that has now caused him to close both clinics. And he and his wife are relocating to Little Rock. He's retiring, is what I understand. So I can't answer that question. And, you know, you weren't here last month, but I gave some information on certain things that it impacted. We too are concerned. Now, I do want you to know that I wasn't the administrator when all those buildings were bought, okay? So sometimes you just inherit, you know, certain things. And I understand the concern about that, but I'm going to take beyond my 3 minutes if you'll give me just a moment. Had it not been for the vision of the man who did buy clinics when certain physicians were retiring, like, I don't even remember all of them, but the Drury Clinic, different ones. And he wanted those to be restricted for medical clinics. We probably wouldn't have retained 2 of the young physicians that we did when they left Ouachita Clinic, Dr. Jonathan Lewis and Dr. Jarrah Smith. We worked very hard to retain them in Camden. And because there was clinic space available for them to move into, and they didn't have to go out and renovate a building to be a physician's clinic, we kept them in Camden. Under my administration, we didn't buy those 2 clinics, but I was very grateful that it had happened in years past. And sometimes there's just a strategy, and it's hard for me to completely address what happened 40 years ago, but things did happen. And it's been beneficial for our community as a result of that. It is a reimbursement issue. One hospital in the state of Arkansas could be poorly managed, but is every hospital in the state of Arkansas poorly managed? Because look at the numbers that Baptist Health is posting, UAMS, Magnolia, El Dorado, everybody is struggling. That's why, as I reported to the justices, we wanted to move for the critical access designation. That will not change how our hospital operates. We'll still have 25 inpatient beds, and I can't remember since COVID a day that we've had 25 inpatients. But to give the justices an update, and I'm not going to belabor historically because I talked about that to you all last month, there's still no movement on that application. We applied on January the 29th, and the governor's office, the congressmen, and the senators all told us that all is handled by Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. They don't have any jurisdiction over that, but they did tell me that it could take months. And with that, Judge, I'd like to ask Joe Michael to come forward and share briefly some info that he has.
I do want to ask you and Joe Michael something. Part of that loss last month, did you guys start paying some of those high premium insurances?
We did. Yes.
Okay.
And that's something you missed, Mr. Davis. Our insurance total $900,000.
Well,
Yeah.
when I saw that in my report, and I had that in the back of my mind, if y'all had started paying some of those extravagant insurance premiums, because we're all experiencing that. So, yes, sir.
So I do have one other question.
Yes.
So the heart tests that were performed, those are performed by?
Carpenter Dodd, DOD. Dr.
Okay.
Dodd has been there since we opened that lab.
And so that wouldn't have happened here in Camden if it hadn't have been for the previous tax where we put that heart lab in at the hospital. Is that a fair statement?
Well, that is a fair statement because some of the offset that we were having to do to maintain the aging building, to have some of that tax money for a 5-year period, did allow us during that renovation with the bond issue, had that sales tax issue not happened, our surgery department was completely remodeled, and we were able to allow space for a cath lab, and you have to have a certain amount of space. So
And
it
that
certainly
was,
did
that was a
improve.
used cath lab bought from Conway Regional.
No, it was a brand new cath
Brand new.
lab,
Oh, it
bought
was?
from Siemens. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's state of the art.
Had the Siemens rep down here when they did the reno.
What am I thinking we bought from Conway?
We haven't bought anything from
Okay, all right.
We haven't.
I'm mistaken,
All right.
Thank you.
Judge, Justices, 3 minutes.
please.
Ms. Abbott, I'm going to just piggyback off of what she said on reimbursement issues. I just read a report. I trust Walmart. I like their line of business. They're usually profitable. They do well always, most of the years. Back in late May, Walmart released a notice through Reuters that they were going to shutter 51 of their healthcare clinics and virtual care offerings within 45 days. Why? The company declined to comment on the financial implication of those clinics. They did say they could not see a sustainable business model due to the reimbursement issues related to healthcare. I just wanted to point that out because a couple years ago we all got excited that Walmart was going to open clinics. Just so you know, they are not, and they have shuttered all of them. Another statistic I want to give you, the National Rural Health Association, they stated 3 months ago that more than 25% of rural hospitals are at risk in over 50% of American states. Another tidbit that I picked up from the same entity, National Rural Health Association, they listed in Minnesota, and I'm just giving you different statistics that we can compare things to here in Camden, Arkansas. 19 rural hospitals in Minnesota banded together to serve 750,000 people. They could not survive alone. They created a clinically integrated network. So they did that to fight and control costs and to share services. Another same group, National Rural Health Association, a Wyoming rural hospital closed its OR because they could not staff it for 24 hours. And right after that, within a month, they shuttered the OB services. And Chartis Rural Health Services, we get a lot of stats from them. They're the gurus. They know all this stuff about healthcare. They tell us what we're doing right and what we're not doing right. But they released a statistic. We always talk about maternal health deserts where there's no obstetrical services. From 2011 to 2021, 267 rural hospitals dropped obstetrical services. That's 25% of American OB services across the country. Why do we say that? We talk about why don't young people stay here? You're not going to get young people to come if you don't have OB services. They can't have kids. We fight every day to keep that available here in Camden, Arkansas. The last statistic I want to give you from Chartis, 50% of rural hospitals lost money in the past year, and that's up 43% from the year before. They listed 418 rural hospitals across the country are vulnerable to closure. So when we talk about our hospital or what's going on, it's commonplace across the country. These things are happening everywhere. And when Justice Vaughn asked me a question in the last meeting, I went the next day and I called the insurance person in Little Rock, and she said to me, and her name's Deanna, she said, "Joe, what's happening there is no different than any other hospital in the state." So she just, when I told you about the insurance rates, and she said, those things are happening across the board in the state. So these are just state and national numbers I want to give you, so we wanted to bring that forward.
Well, I want to leave you guys with a kind of a homework.
Okay.
The tax is passed, okay, by not a very big margin, okay? In the back of their minds, the people, they want a hospital in their community. So those that voted for it, that's why they did it. Those that were against it, they didn't believe our hospital was closed. So now, the taxes in place, and this is the homework question. What are you gonna do different to ensure that our hospital will long live past 10 years? We know that reimbursements are gonna be what they're gonna get, and they're only gonna go down. We're not gonna get the critical access. We're not gonna get it. And this is why. The Medicare and Medicaid, they're not gonna drop their 35-mile deal. You wanna know why? They don't wanna pay more with other critical access hospitals. So the 35-mile thing is going to be a no-go on us getting critical access. And yes, the federal legislators, the state legislators, the governor, can't any of them change Medicare and Medicaid's idea. Now, we know what the problem is. We know what the taxpayers have done. What are we going to do different? It's going to take some thinking outside the box. It's going to take some thinking outside the box. Okay? Because I'm already thinking outside the box. Okay?
I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
Based on what I've heard tonight, is that it's a while back we purchased quite a few clinic type buildings. Are we, I'm saying the hospital, are we making money off the rentals of those, or are we breaking even, or are we losing money on those buildings?
She'll have to answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Joe Michael referred.
Okay.
So,
I'm just curious about,
I want to make sure I'm clear about what part of this question is. I think I asked this last week.
you did, and you got the answer from Miss Abbott.
Ouachita County.
You asked if any of this tax money is going to go to those clinics, and she said no.
So,
I'm not asking that. I'm asking, are we making profits on whoever
whoever owns it, not the hospital, whoever owns it.
But is that money?
The
going to
clinics support themselves with the rent that we charge as a whole. They certainly do.
It takes care of all the maintenance and everything on it.
Predominantly so, yes it does, so far as I can recall.
So it's not a money maker, it's basically,
It's not
It's
going to
a
make a
it's a
huge
nonprofit.
profit because you have to keep some maintenance and upkeep on those clinics.
But it keeps doctors here.
Keeps
yeah,
doctors
I'm just
here.
curious about.
Yeah. Yes. And as I said, none of the tax money, and the judge has all of the documentation at the courthouse from the sales tax prior. You know, he has to approve, and we have criteria we have to meet, so none of that was ever used
No,
on anything other than hospital building. I want to make that clear.
How many clinics do whoever?
Well, Ouachita Valley Family Clinic,
They own the building, but not the land.
and then the McFarland Office Building, and then the Hester Eye Clinic, M&S Clinic, and then the building where Dr. Martin was housed. That's all of
What
them.
about the building where physical therapy?
We own that, but you know, that's part of the hospital property, that's part of the county property.
So
So far
those
as we
buildings
understand.
belong to the county?
Well, now that is something that the hospital fully paid 18 years ago. There was a little small telephone office building there, and the hospital renovated that and added on to that to make the building as it is now. But it is my understanding that the property it sits on is part of the county property.
So y'all have.
The hospital fully funded in the old days,
Okay, so
basically building.
the hospital
that
has
building.
buildings sitting on our property.
well, it would be yours ultimately, and pay for the pavement of the parking lot and the addition of the parking lot. The hospital fully paid for that because it's on county property, is our understanding.
But the tax that's been passed is not gonna go towards anything in that building.
No, it hasn't, it didn't, and it won't.
Okay. I just
And you
need-
have the approval on that.
I needed to ask that publicly.
Yeah, sure.
And so, okay.
Could I ask one quick question? Those buildings that you just mentioned, and you've been talking about insurance, and I may have missed it, but who pays the insurance on those buildings?
That corporation. Part of the rent money that we accrue, we take from them, helps pay the insurance and the upkeep. It is billed separately than the medical center.
I believe that's gonna be part of the report that Mr. Givens that I asked for last week. He's gonna find some information that needs.
Last week,
to be-
last
this
month,
week, Last month, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I would hope, Mr. Givens, that you would include Judge McAdoo on that so he can distribute the information that you send to me, please.
We won't give any justice any information without giving it to the county judge.
And they need to understand that I don't get information without giving it to y'all. Right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't harbor information. Anyone else for the audience participation? Okay, we'll move on to item number 7 in new business. An appropriation ordinance to create and appropriate funds in county general and the equalization board.
We need to amend the
Be
agenda.
enacted by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, and appropriation ordinance entitled.
No, that's not an addition, it's just a different type. Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, appropriation ordinance entitled appropriation ordinance amending ordinance 2023-29, 2024, operating budget to create and appropriate funds in the county general fund, equalization board budget, and for other purposes. Article 1, appropriation ordinance 2023-29, 2024, operating budget is hereby amended to appropriate and transfer a total of $66,176 to the following line items below. Article 2, going into 1,106,3008, property reappraisal, professional services, $66,176. Coming from 106,104, contract labor, $66,176. Article 3, source of funds to come from a transfer within the equalization board budget. Article 4, this ordinance is to create a line item 3008, property reappraisal, professional services. Article 5, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and this ordinance shall be in full force and in effect from and after its date of approval. Sponsored Justice Taylor.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this appropriation ordinance as presented.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Justice Russell, seconded by Justice Vaughn, that this appropriation ordinance be approved. Now, what this is basically, for years and years and years, when we have contracted with Total Assessment Solutions for the countywide assessments and reassessments, we have paid for them out of contract labor, okay? And legislative audit, lo and behold this time, said it's not supposed to be paid out of line item contract labor. So we had to add this line item that you guys are approved tonight, start paying that $16,000 a month, whatever our contract cost us, just from a different line item. We're not asking for any more money. We're just moving the money we already appropriated into where we can do it. So we can be in legislative audits graces.
We'll get it in writing this time, so when the new auditor comes in, we can play out in front of
Dennis, excuse me.
I'm sorry, I withdraw.
Justice Trulove, when a new auditor comes in, we are not going to take him off.
Yeah.
So we may come back to you at a later date and go back to the way it was, so. But anyway, let's vote on this by roll call, please.
Justice Arnold?
Yes.
Justice Brown? Justice Edwards? Yes. Justice Furlow?
Yes.
Justice Hines? Justice Lilly?
Yes.
Justice Pickett?
Yes.
Justice Russell?
Yes.
Justice Trulove?
Yes.
Justice Vaughn?
Yes.
And Justice Davis.
All right, the next item is an appropriation ordinance amending ordinance 23, the operating budget, to create and appropriate funds in jail operating fund, jail operating budget.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, appropriation ordinance entitled, an appropriation ordinance amending ordinance 2023, 29, and 2024 operating budget to create and appropriate funds in the jail operating fund, jail operating budget, and for other purposes. Article 1, appropriation ordinance 2023, 29, 2024 operating budget is hereby amended to appropriate and transfer a total of $14,000 to line item to wit. Article 2, 3017, 418, 3102, computer software, $14,000. Article 3, source of funds to come from an appropriated balance of jail operating. Article 4, this ordinance is to purchase ISOM Internet Sheriff's Office Management System for the dispatchers. Article 5, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and this ordinance shall be in full force and in effect from and after its date of approval. Sponsors Justice Furlow.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this appropriation ordinance as presented.
So moved.
Okay, been moved by Justice Russell,
Second.
second by Justice Furlow, that we approve this appropriation ordinance as presented. Okay, you've heard about this for the last 3 months now, right? Dalton Kane made his presentation 2 months ago, made it again last month, and y'all verbally agreed. So I entered a contract this last month, or just last week. So now this is the money to pay for the program. All right, first year is $14,000 because there's got to be some training involved. From here on out, it will be $12,000. And we're going to have cloud storage for our ISOMs. And ISOMs is basically the backbone of the Sheriff's Department dispatch. Okay? Let's vote on it by roll call. Well, yes, sir.
So I'd like to hear Dalton one more time. You confirmed this 2 months ago for me, but I'd like to hear you say it again. This swap over is going to be seamless because this is nothing more than, for the lack of better terms, a Windows update where everything moves right in as is. There's not any reconfiguration. All the data files will come across. You'll just have a new front face of it. Is that a true statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Front face and also storage different.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences to it, so yes, it's
Okay.
seamless.
Okay.
Everything be fine.
Seamless was the key word.
Seamless is the word I'm looking for.
Okay, any other discussion? Let's vote on it by roll call, please.
Justice Arnold?
Yes.
Justice Brown?
Yes.
Justice Edwards? Justice Furlow?
Yes.
Justice Hines?
Yes.
Justice Lilly?
Yes.
Justice Pickett?
Yes.
Justice Russell?
Yes.
Justice Trulove?
Yes.
Justice Vaughn?
Yes.
And Justice Davis.
All right, and an ordinance approving modifications to the lease and assignment agreement. This is the third and final reading.
Third reading, be enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Ouachita, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled ordinance approving modification to assignment and lease agreement and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto. Whereas Ouachita County, Arkansas, the county owns Ouachita County Medical Center, the hospital which hospital is leased to Ouachita County Medical Center, an Arkansas nonprofit corporation. The corporation pursuant to an assignment and lease agreement dated November the 16th, 1994, the lease, and whereas voters of the county at a special election held on June 11, 2024, approved the levy of a half-cent sales and use tax within the county for a period of 10 years. The tax to assist in the operation, maintenance, improvement, renovation, expansion, and equipping of the hospital. Now therefore be enacted by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, Article 1. The modification to assignment and lease agreement, the modification is hereby approved in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, and the county judge and the county clerk are hereby authorized to execute and deliver the modification with such changes as may be acceptable to them, their execution to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval. Article 2, expending the funds to this tax will be distributed in the following with documentation in the county clerk's office and the treasurer's office and available for public viewing at any time. Number 1, reimbursement with canceled checks from the hospital and invoices attached. Number 2, the normal claim process with submission of invoice and paid directly to the vendor from Ouachita County. Article 2, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt this third and final reading.
Move.
Second.
Been moved by Justice Russell, seconded by Justice Vaughn, that we adopt this third and final reading. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Okay. Call for question. Roll call, please.
Justice Arnold? Yes. Justice Brown? Yes. Justice Edwards? Yes. Justice Furlow?
Yes.
Justice Hines? Yes. Justice Lilly?
Yes.
Justice Pickett?
Yes.
Justice Russell?
Yes.
Justice Trullo?
Abstain.
Justice Vaughn?
Yes.
Justice West?
Okay. Motion carries and it's adopted. All right, next is a resolution.
Being ordained by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, a resolution to confirm the appointment of the vacant position to the Ouachita County Medical Center Board of Directors. Whereas according to this lease agreement between Ouachita County Medical Center and Ouachita County, Arkansas, all nominations to Leslie's Board of Directors must be submitted to the Ouachita County Quorum Court for approval. Whereas the following people have been nominated for appointment. Board members, Mr. Jason Purefoy, his term will be September the 1st, 2024 through December the 31st of 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Ouachita County, Arkansas, the appointments of Mr. Jason Purefoy to the Ouachita County Medical Center Board of Directors. Sponsors all Quorum Court members.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept or reject this resolution.
Will we accept this resolution?
It's moved by Justice Furlow and seconded by Justice Hines that we approve this resolution. Vote on this resolution from the medical center. Is there any discussion? Mr. Vaughn?
Okay, if I ask Ms. Addis a question on this. Okay, well, I'll ask the court. How does this process begin? How do we get this person's name on this paper?
Okay. Is it okay for an answer from out in the galley?
No.
Okay.
All right, Judge.
All right, so, all right, but it doesn't have to be. All right. This name came about.
I'm not asking about this name.
Okay.
A name.
Okay, it comes about in different ways, okay? There is, for some reason or other, there is a suggestion, you know, from the hospital board, the hospital administration, to decide on what names they're gonna send forward for you guys to accept or reject, as it states in the lease, their recommendation. So, there's a possibility that if somebody wants to serve on the board, they may call the hospital and say, hey, I'd like to serve on the board. I'd like to be considered.
Is this empty position at any time put public notice to the public?
No. Because the hospital is a 501c3, and they feel like that they don't have to put it for public notice. Which is now somewhat being publicly funded. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure.
So Judge, at one point, did we not say that when these positions are to be filled, that this individual should come before the court so that we could question him maybe?
Yes, ma'am, that comment did come up amongst the Quorum Court. You're
Okay, so
exactly
is this
right.
individual here tonight?
He is not here tonight.
Did we,
Who do we lose to have to replace, or is this a new?
There's two
Too short.
vacancies.
Okay.
On a 7-member board, there's 2 vacancies.
did you get a resume? I didn't see it, and I
Did I
want
get
to
a
make sure I
resume?
didn't overlook it.
Wait, no, I didn't send a resume, but I can't remember if I got a resume. I did get a resume. Okay, when she sent this to me, I did have a resume. Okay?
I know that was part of the discussion is on not only the hospital board, but also the library board, that once that those names were coming forward, before we voted on them, we would have an opportunity to look and see what.
Resume and interview?
I'm okay with looking at a resume.
She talked about, not just you, Justice, it was a conversation that before, on any board, that you guys would, and ladies, would have an opportunity to interview.
I'm personally good with reviewing the resumes, me personally.
Would you clarify the process briefly again? I think I missed something.
Okay.
Judge, if I may, let me kind of just
Yes, ma'am,
put
please.
it into
You are welcome.
a layperson's term. So a resolution is just a mere opinion or recommendation by the Quorum Court. You can accept, you can reject it, and then after we express our opinion or recommendation to the Ouachita County Board, then they're the ultimate ones who accept or reject. They're the board members. It's just like our recommendation. It's not kind of like an opinion on who we want as a board member. So it's not necessarily like, if y'all recommend this person, ultimately they have to accept them as a board member. That's part of our release is recommendation. So this resolution is not a guarantee that they're become a board member. It's just an opinion from the Quorum Court on a recommendation. Does that help?
I'm not sure I'm gonna form an opinion.
Well,
A person, I'm gonna say the board member is blank. I'm not gonna form an opinion on blank until I know something about that blank.
And I understand that, and I think I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that it's just a suggestion. It's kind of essentially the same way when we want a JP filled, when we recommend someone to the governor. That's kind of the same process. Ultimately, it's her decision who she appoints. We make recommendations. So that's kind of how the process
We
is.
also, I'll go back to my first statement, we also we go to looking, but this last time we done, that was put in public notice in the newspaper, am I not correct, Judge?
Oh, on our JP, filling our JP position? Absolutely.
So, my neighbor wants to make me one on the board of directors. And I'll have my opinion of that, well, blank, I may not know, I don't know. So, I'm not gonna sit here as a JP and suggest, hey, you take blank and put him on your board of directors, when I know absolutely nothing about it.
And I agree, I think that's something that y'all as a whole, as Quorum Court, if you want to make an informed decision or recommendation, that you should have all the information before.
Correct.
Yes. But I just wanted to clarify the process of that this is a recommendation put forth before the board. That's the process.
So,
When you say before the board, you mean before the Quorum Court?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, before the Ouachita County Medical School. We
So-
make the recommendation, and then let them know whether to take our recommendation.
so they look and come up with a list or a name, okay, whatever. They submit it to the judge, and then it becomes this document to us. We vote, yes, we agree, or no, we don't agree, but ultimately it goes back to the library board or to the hospital board for them to confirm.
Correct.
Is that a correct statement?
That's correct.
So the only thing we didn't get on this time is any type of history of this person's resume, for lack of a better term.
So with what you just said, so the hospital could come to Quorum Court and say, we have 2 vacancies on our board of directors. And we, as a Quorum Court, were to offer 6 of these. Okay, you go decide which one of these you want best fit your board of directors. Quorum Court has chosen who we want to represent. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah, we make it who we chose, and it's our recommendation.
Who we choose.
Correct.
So I'm saying this resolution here, we are on point giving our opinion of this one single person.
That's correct.
I was gonna say this about this particular person here. There have been people came, I received no resume from them or any information on them at all. Dr. X, we want to put him on the board, but on this particular one, I did receive. And
You received
I
what?
did receive a resume from, Mr. Fearful.
Did you receive?
I didn't.
Fearful.
I didn't.
I got a resume, but I didn't know whether to share it with you or keep it confidential. Okay? I have no problem giving y'all the resume at all. But I get documents from the hospital. Sometimes they talk about confidential, sometimes they don't talk about confidential. Well, most of the time it's confidential.
I want to make sure I'm clear. This is not about me personally. This is not about the person
No,
that's on here.
no, because I'm gonna go on the record and tell you, there's no more model person in Ouachita County than this gentleman.
My opinion here has been stated, it's never been about the name.
Never about a name, it's about a process.
It's a process.
It's a process.
It's being,
Not only.
it's being crystal clear.
That's right.
At the library board, but there's the 2 boards that come before
I'm
us.
gonna fight the fights as the fights come. But right now, I guess you can call it a question.
I just wanted to know the process, that's all.
Well,
I wasn't clear on the process.
okay, have I answered you about the process then? Have I, okay, all right.
One.
I'm sent a name
Oh, yeah.
from the hospital. Okay? Now, I can't be absolutely 100% sure all the time where that name came from. I am on this one. Okay? I know it came from a recommendation from a Chittister person, with the hospital trying to extend out more for better representation for the whole county. So, but where they get their names from, I don't always know that. I did on this one, okay?
I think I may have confused you.
No, it's not, it's easy to, it's not hard to confuse me, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I maybe I'm just confused.
Right.
Clarification on that.
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to table this resolution to our next meeting so that we can get a copy of the resume and look at that. That's what I would like. Now, turn it down, there's nothing against him, it's just, since we said that was gonna be a process that we were gonna do, let's follow the process.
Okay. Then,
Somebody asked her.
Yeah, Robert's rules.
all of the stuff.
Second first.
Second.
We have second for what?
For my motion to table.
What about the resolution before?
That's what I'm talking
Something's got to be done about this, something's got to be voted, yes, no, something on this. So it's already been presented.
It's true, and we made a motion first and second resolution. I believe you could have voted in the past, we can put it back on the agenda for next month.
I have a question for the court here now. We have 35 or even any number you like. They have recommended people. And we have never, that I recall, in 30 years, turned one down. And now, tonight, we want to go to a different set of rules, and we want the person to appear. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to deny this one tonight.
We're not denying.
We're
Table.
not denying.
Moving it out.
No,
We said table.
no, you have it all wrong, Justice Furlow. We had said we need to be, everything needs to be more transparent. Okay, everything has been done with no transparency, and so that's what we're trying to do. And so now is the time to start. And it's not starting so much with his name, it's starting with this process. That's it. We're not turning him down, but we're just trying to do things in a different way.
And that started back earlier this year.
Yes.
That discussion started
Yes,
January, February.
you did.
You have the opportunity to vote one of three ways. Yes, no, or abstain. Now, he dies, then I'll entertain a motion to bring it back before the court next month in a resolution, along with an interview and resolution.
So, to the legal advice, if everybody abstains, does that automatically require another motion to put it on next month's agenda? I want to be clear on my vote.
I think you can go either way. You don't necessarily have to make a formal motion to put it on next month's agenda, but if y'all would like to do that, you can.
Okay?
And just to be have clarity that just because everyone abstained or this is not accepted, does not prevent him to be considered again.
Right.
Just want to make sure
Okay.
everyone knows that, just because it doesn't pass tonight, it would mean that he's.
All right.
Roll call.
Justice Arnold? Abstain. Justice Brown?
Abstain.
Justice Edwards? Justice Furlow?
Yes,
Justice Hines? Justice Lilly?
Abstain.
Justice Pickett? Justice Russell?
Abstain.
Justice Trullo?
Abstain.
Justice Vaughn?
No.
Justice West?
The abstains have it. And it's abstained.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that this resolution be put on next month's agenda
Second.
with the resume provided prior to the meeting.
Second.
Second. All right. It's been moved and seconded that we bring this resolution up next month with me getting y'all the resume beforehand. So, we have a motion and a second. So, that's got what to be.
You don't have to do our roll call.
No, that's an aye. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, and it will be brought back up next month. Okay? Good. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yes.
I just need some clarification. I mailed the letter to the judge, hand delivered it on August the 27th, and on that day, a copy of this was mailed to every one of the justices.
Oh, so you
Did you
did,
not
y'all
receive
did
it?
mail them the resume.
It shows that it's copied. Mr. Trullo, did you check your mail? It should have been in the mailbox.
This is one of my problems because my mailbox is
Good.
at
I thought
2675.
it was something I forgot to do.
Everybody has the information on this recommendation. And I do not personally know him, but 3 of the board members and a recommendation from Chittister, but you all have this information.
So
And we'll be talking with our legal counsel as to whether he has to come for an interview. We'll have her to call you.
We did not say,
we,
ma'am,
We didn't say
we did not say
interview,
an interview, we said
I've
a
heard
resume.
that from Justice
He
Vaughn.
said that, but when.
but the motion never
The motion did
included.
not say that. It did not say that in the motion.
It's hard enough to get people to serve without putting them through that.
All right, item number 8, unfinished business. Some unfinished business, we have continued road work with oiling and peeing and chipping in Justice's Russell's district and started in Justice Furlow's district, and we will continue. We're in Amy. When we get through with Amy, we're gonna go across the river and go on County Road 24 towards Reeder. And then we also have the state aid project on County Road 23 and 88. They're going to start the HVAC project at the DHS very soon now. We said at the end of September, 1st of October. They're going to be without for about 7 to 10 days, so we got to have just right weather during that time. And on the 12th, we do have our annual Veterans Appreciation at Cullendale First Baptist Church. It's starts at, I got the right date, right? The 12th, at 6 o'clock, right? And so we're expecting between 400 to 600 vets and their families, with door prizes and a catered meal. And this year, our donations have been down. So, but we're figuring a way to do it, and we've got it. So, but that's then. Do you have any unfinished business you want to ask about? Do you want to bring up? No unfinished business? All right. Number 9, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
I'll send you a little guide. It's just the process into the hospital. Is like normal because some I had to fix the house tomorrow. So I'm gonna give them my. You didn't hear me say.
Speak to me.
I take it back. I've been out of state. Travel. Red River for a week.